Hi, I'm Jonathan Crow Kramer. I just finished up my interview with the Keith Andrews Network, and it was absolutely amazing. Keith, I appreciate you. I appreciate all of your hard work over the last 7 years that have brought us to this point, and I thank you so much. Anybody watching this, you definitely should consider meeting up with Keith and spending some time with him. He's a great guy.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Keith Andrew. I'm here with Jonathan and Dave. I just want to say thank you for being a guest on my talk show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
No, the honor is all mine. For people who want to know what my talk show is about, whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities to never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be. You should prove to them against them out to something. So hashtag break the labels. So that being said, normal conversation is going to be a half hour at a time, and let's just jump right into it.
Sounds awesome. Thank you.
So the first question is, how long have you been an actor? And who influenced you to become an actor?
Okay, so I've been acting, it's been off and on for about 10 years. I think over the last year is when I decided to really take it a little more seriously. So I found myself going after more classes and just finding anyone that I can absolutely learn the most from. As far as who inspired me, I don't have any family members who are actors, so this is kind of me going out on my own path. But I think wanted to become an actor when I was a child. Everyone kind of goes through that phase where they want to be a police officer or they want to be an astronaut. And I noticed that what I wanted to be when I grew up changed almost weekly. And it was, I wanted to be a pilot, I wanted to be a police officer, I wanted to be a firefighter. And then one day it was, I want to be an image consultant. And it was such a weird thing to want to be as a small child that my mom was like, you're just saying this because we just watched a movie where the main character was an image consultant. And I was like, you know what, you're right. I don't want to be any of these things. I want to be an actor. So that's kind of what really got me started on this path. And then it just became a deep passion over the last couple of years.
Now, what would you say are some of your biggest strengths and some of your strongest weaknesses as being an actor?
Yeah, so I would say my biggest strength is probably empathy. I'm a hugely empathetic person. I love learning about people. I love getting to know who they are, and I really am able to kind of put myself in their shoes and feel what they've been through. So I think that definitely plays into a big strength when it comes to acting and being able to relate to just about anyone and any situation. I'm also a big firm believer that your biggest strength is sometimes your biggest weakness. So I would say my biggest weakness is probably empathy as well. Sometimes I care too much. Sometimes I let things affect me a little too much. Sometimes I really get down emotionally based on what's going on around me. So I would definitely say empathy is probably my biggest strength and my biggest weakness.
What about trying to find a thing of something good? Just drawing a blank. Let's see. With everything that you accomplish, do you feel that you have made a statement, or do you think there's so much more that you want to accomplish?
I think there's a lot more. I definitely think that over the last 10 years of doing this off and on relationship with acting, I think I'm really just getting started now. I think it's been an amazing experience. I think the path that I went down brought me to where I am for a reason. I don't know if maybe I pursued it a little more intensely. You can play that game all the time of where would I be if I started sooner or if I took it more seriously, but maybe I would have gotten burnt out. So maybe, taking it slow off and on was the right choice. but there is so much more that I want to do, and I'm grateful for the journey I've been on so far, and I'm definitely looking forward to the future.
All right. Now, my next question I want to ask you, social media. Can social media make you or break you with everything that you accomplish in your life? Does Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, do those dictate if people should follow you?
So I think social media is such a big part of life for the majority of people that social media definitely can make or break you. I think at the end of the day, it's important to be able to know who you are without social media, meaning you're not chasing a following, or you're not chasing the likes, or looking for some sort of validation through social media. But I definitely think you need to have a strong presence there. It's almost like a storefront. You're showing who you are, what you have to sell. It definitely gives people a chance to learn a little bit about you before they even get a chance to meet you sometimes. So I do agree that I think social media can make or break you, and it plays a huge role in today's society, in today's world.
But especially, let's just keep it focused on you. Was everything that you did, was it, you got this acting role because you had so many fans and followers on Facebook? Was it because your Instagram has people say blowing up, or Twitter? Do you think you're getting acting roles? And I'm not saying to be an ass or anything about whether you're talented or not talented, but a lot of people say you're only getting a certain role because you got high numbers on media, but you have no talent. But yet, on the other hand, you have great talent, but you don't have that following. Do you feel like that dictates your career, or you haven't really seen that?
So me personally, I don't think I've seen that yet. I don't think I've reached kind of those levels yet. I think it definitely plays into it later on in the game, when you're looking at some of the bigger productions or the more high profile jobs. I know, and I have heard from agencies, that your social media presence and following can kind of play into that a little bit when you get up there. When they're looking for someone to draw attention to a project, having a big following definitely helps right there. I am also a firm believer that 9 out of 10 times, maybe 8 out of 10 times, 8 or 9 out of 10 times, they're going to pick the person that's right for the project, because having a great project is going to be so much more beneficial than just finding someone with a big following. So I definitely think it does play a role in this career. I don't think it has in mind just yet. I don't think I've reached that level to, or necessarily put myself out for big enough projects that are looking for someone to bring a presence. So I think I answered the question.
What about looking for something really good? I always try to do, I just did 2 interviews today, so I'm trying not to sound like a parrot and repeat the same thing over and over. So I'm trying to make it different. Have you ever worked with people with disabilities, and are you willing to work with people with disabilities?
I haven't, as far as acting, I have not. I've spent some time around Special Olympics when I was younger, which was really cool. There's such amazing people to meet in general. So I've done that in the past. As far as acting, I haven't yet. Yes, I am definitely open to that. I am willing to surround myself with anyone who is, pushing for a goal or a dream. I love surrounding myself with the risk takers, people who are not going to just accept what society limits them to, or doing like the 9-to-5 job and, go work somewhere, make some money, not really get ahead, raise a family, die, or retire and die. I like the risk takers. I like the people that, go out and chase something. So those are the type of people I love surrounding myself with. I know that people with disabilities, sometimes they get a shortened hand where they almost have to work 10 times harder than someone without, because people don't necessarily believe in them all the time. So I definitely admire that as well. That's really cool.
Well, first off, I do agree with you about working 10 times harder. I do that every single day. I'm always showing you and showing everyone with disabilities, look at what I can accomplish.
I love it.
But because you haven't worked with anyone yet with disabilities, it pleases me to be the first. Just give
Absolutely.
myself a little pat on the back for that one. So the next question I was going to ask you is, how does one get an agent? Like, what were the steps that you went through?
hmm Okay. So there's a bunch of different ways to get agents. You could find yourself in a project where, you can use that almost as leverage, reaching out to agencies of, hey, I just booked this role and I need help. I need representation. There are a lot of agencies that will do open calls where they post them on their social media. So make sure you follow all the different agencies that are in your area and keep an eye out for those things. Those are a great way to get in the door and actually meet people and show them who you are instead of just sending off a package. And then a package is another way. I've had a couple of agents now in my career. The first agent I ever had was, I saw a post that they were looking for talent, so I emailed them and got in contact, went down, met with them, and they decided to represent me. The second one I sent a package to. I looked them up. I had a friend who was represented by them, and they said that they were a really good agent. So I had looked them up. They wanted a headshot, a resume, a cover letter, and any professional references that you had. So I put that all together and sent it over, and it took about 2 weeks, but I finally got a email back saying they wanted to represent me, which was really cool, really exciting. And then the most recent one, I went to an open call and got to meet with them in person.
Now, this one I get asked a lot, and especially I think about this question a lot too. Now, for people who represent you, do you have to pay for them to represent you, or do they take a percentage out of what they represent? Like, for an example, for me, I've been looking for people to represent me, and every time I come across someone like, oh, if you give me $500, if you give me $600, and especially my brother says to me, if they're asking for money, it's a scam. And I know by you shaking your head up and down, you agree with me. How do you know if someone is legit and someone's full of BS?
Yeah. So an agent's role is they have a lot of things that they do. They are greatly underappreciated, and I love all the agents I've ever worked with. They are amazing people and they work so hard. But the way that the industry is set up is agents get paid when you get paid. You should never pay an agent up front to represent you. So all the agents that I've had, I paid them zero money up front. Once they find me an audition, so they work really hard to find me auditions. I go to the audition. I work really hard to secure that job for myself, but also for the agent. And then when I get paid, they pay the agency who pays me. So they take a percentage rate out of there. That's pretty much the industry standard. Anyone who is asking for money up front is probably not legitimate.
I can think of 10 people I came across on this one guy in Florida. I mean, if he's like a big star and everything, he's like, oh, I actually had someone in the new Jurassic Park movie. My dad said to me, if he's really a big agent, why is he in Florida, number one? And number two, why do I have to pay him? And there's
Exactly.
like some other person I asked. It's like, well, you have to be generous, and you have to give to get a little. It's like, okay, I understand you have to give to get a little, so I'm going to give you $500. Okay, that's what you're getting. What exactly am I gonna get? So,
Exactly.
it's not it's not a 9 to 5 job, and acting, especially because you're an actor, it's not guaranteed work. It's always like, well, let me get this straight. I'm giving you $500, but you're just giving me all this BS, and you're like, well, if you're meant to be who you're supposed to be, it's like if I'm giving you $500, I expect, getting a job or getting a role, being on radio, getting exposure. Not saying,
Mhm.
well, thank you for the 500. We will be in touch. It's
Good luck. Yeah.
Well, what about you? Some of your agents, have you met some really good ones? Because you mentioned you had a couple. Have you met some really
Mhm.
good ones, or have you met some that were kind of fishy?
I have gone down the rabbit hole of fishy companies. So you hear them all the time, and some of them it's just so crazy. There are a lot out there that will host an open call, and then you go, and they're like, "Oh, we think you're great, but you're just not ready yet. So please go to our acting school. It's going to
Yeah.
cost you $3,000, but when you're done, you're going to be fully trained, and you're going to have a career." And blah. It's not how the industry works. So it's a very slimy and disgusting thing to see. People preying on risk takers, people who want to go out and chase a dream and not settle for the status quo in life, and they come through and they try and prey upon you. It's really gross. So my best advice, if someone asks you for money up front to represent you, run. Just don't further the conversation. Just get out. Just get out. Um, and if they are by some miracle legit and they want money up front, they're probably struggling or desperate at that point. So they're not doing too hot. So it's probably not the best fit for you anyways. Um, where are you located, Keith?
Oh, in New York, not New York
New York.
City, like upstate New York.
Perfect.
What
So
about
you
yourself?
probably I'm in Wisconsin. I'm a little bit north of Chicago. I do the majority of my work in Chicago. And then the wife and I are planning on moving out to LA probably within like the next 18 months. So we're just kind of gearing up, getting ready for that. But in New York, I'm sure you have a ton of great opportunities to find representation, and I'd be more than willing to help you out with that. Typically, a good couple of Google searches will pull up some good ones for you that are in your immediate area that could be either great fits or great stepping stones as well too.
So
So
I would really appreciate that. Hey, you help me, I help you. And if there's anything
absolutely.
you want me to promote for you, just pass it my way. But for me, I'm not in New York City, so for me to go into the city, it's more depends on. Say, I'm trying to think. Trying to think without hurting myself. West Side, it's about like an hour, hour and a half. Queens is 2 hours.
Yeah.
Brooklyn is about 2 hours. Long Island's out there, so that's 3 hours.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's a trip, but
Yeah.
there's some parts. But if you're really passionate about it, but this, for some reason now that we're talking about it, it's really sticking with me. Every time I came across someone, it's like, hey, you are an entertainer, you're a representative, and it's money keeps coming up. The other thing I do want to talk about after I say that, but as you said, if they're really legit and they believe in you, they shouldn't ask you for money up front. I mean,
Exactly.
after you book a gig, and okay, that's understandable, but this is
Mhm.
not like a startup fee. I
Exactly.
don't know. I'm not really in the business, so you know more about that. But with the acting class, I actually this is the next question I was getting at to. I came across a USA show, Suits, and I wanted to be like Mike Ross. I wanted to be like Mike Ross, have a boss like Harvey Specter, beautiful girlfriend like Rachel, who's now the Queen of England. Well, before they chased her out now, but she was
Yep.
the Queen of England. And came across the newspaper. I was obsessed with being an actor, and it's like, Ghosts in New York. They're actually having a class, and the guy's like, oh, it's $600 for semester one, and
Mm.
after the semester, you get this little certificate saying you completed the course. And if you want to come back for the second one, it's another $1,200. I'm like, that day, it's like, oh, yeah, I know it sounds like a lot of money, but $2,400. But here's the icing on the cake. But I can't guarantee you anything out of it. So wait, actually, no, that's not true. The only thing you can guarantee is you're going to piss away $2,400 and you're never going to get that back. Yes,
Yep.
you will learn how to be an actor, what to say, what not to do, have these little certificate things. But $2,400, that's a big gamble of saying, yes, you need the heart and the passion to do what you love. But at the same time, $2,400, you can buy a car, you can pay your rent, you can pay your power bills, put food on the table. I'm not saying, especially because you're an actor, you need to be 100% in it. But at the same time, you don't want to play a monopoly and have someone take all the money, put the blinders on you and say, I took a chance, now you have to pay the consequences. I'm guilty of it. I'm constantly taking, when I see an opportunity, I jump right into it. But sometimes when you jump into it, you really don't know what the backlash of that will be. But passing it over to you, was there a show, a movie, or a person that actually influenced you, going back to the first question, say, this is what I want to do until I die? Was there at a certain point in your life where a switch just went off, say, you know what, I'm stuck and I need to get out of it?
Yeah, so that's a very good question.
I give you an example if you want.
Sure.
I used to work in retail for so many years, and the last job I worked at, I was standing there, and it's someone that's flipped the switch, and I give you an example. I used to work at Target, and I was standing there, and I was thinking, I used my dad for an inspiration. He's one of the best teachers in New York City. He met so many people. I used my brother for an inspiration. I was sitting there, and I'm thinking, I'm sick of this. I'm so sick of feeling bad for myself. And I flipped the switch saying, you know what? I'm tired of feeling bad for myself. I'm going to get up and do something. For the longest time, I was using my disability as a crutch. I read and learn at a 5th grade level. I'm on the spectrum of being retarded. I'm not qualified to do anything. So I decided to create my own opportunity. I'm saying, if you're stuck into the corner, you can either stay in the corner and die, or you can make your own doorway. And for 7 years, I made my own path to show every single person out there, with and without the disability, if you have the heart and passion to do what you love, you can pretty much accomplish anything. Now, with you, how did you feel when you had that inspirational moment?
Yeah. Well, first of all, again, congratulations on 7 years. That is amazing. That is super impressive. I don't think I've done anything consistently for 7 years. So that is amazing. I give you a ton of credit and props, and I admire the heck out of that. 7 years is a long time. I'm very proud of you for that. As far as inspiring, I used to work a lot of retail too. Retail is a great teacher. It teaches you how to keep your cool. It teaches you how to deal with people. It teaches you how ugly people can be and to not be one of those people. I think there's 2 quotes that really drive my career, I guess. Number one, I heard Jim Carrey I watched the video of Jim Carrey giving a commencement speech, and he says that, I think his father told him this, but you can fail at doing something you don't want to do, So you might as well take a chance and follow your dream. You might as well go after what you do want in life. A lot of people are scared of taking the risk and chasing the dream because what if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if I don't get it? Well, you can go ahead and, for example, my father, you can work in a mill your entire life and then get let go. And now where do you go? You have very low education because you didn't need it back when you started in the mill. And now there's pretty much nothing to do at this point. So if you fail at something you don't want to do, you might as well chase what you do want. Take a risk. And then number two, kind of with what you're saying about being backed into a corner, I believe in the life equation E plus R equals O. So E stands for life events. These are things that happen that we have no control over. You get a flat tire. You have disabilities. It could be good things. It could be bad things, whatever it is. E stands for life events that we can't change. R is for reaction or response. That is the only thing we can change. And then equals O, which is the outcome. So say you get a flat tire. If your reaction is to be really upset and pissed off and woe is me, and you do nothing about it, you're not going anywhere. If your reaction is, okay, this is a minor setback, I can get it handled, I can take care of it, the outcome's a lot better. So with you being stuck in a corner and feeling like you have nowhere to go, if that would have been your reaction or your response, the outcome isn't very positive. But you took it and you made a very intelligent and emotionally mature reaction and response to, I'm going to pave my own way. If someone else isn't going to give me an opportunity, I'm going to do it myself. And now here you are 7 years later, and you're still rocking and rolling, and I get to spend time with you, which is amazing. So those are two of the things that inspire me and keep me moving. I don't think there's any one big event. I know that every time I give up acting, it comes right back. It's one of those things that I can't shake. I can't get rid of.
So it's like a bad itch.
Yeah, pretty much. It's not about, for me, it's not about fame. It's not about money. So it's not about chasing any of those things. It just keeps coming back to, this is where my heart is. This is where I keep getting dragged back to. So I'm finally at the point where I'm like, all right, I'm going to surrender to love and chase it and give it everything I can to just become as good as I possibly can and see where it goes.
No, absolutely. Now we're wrapping up our talk show. I do have two questions for you, and then I have two questions for you off the air. But the first one is, how can people follow you on social media? Are you on LinkedIn, Twitter, Stage 32?
So with back to your social media make or break, this is definitely one of those breaks. I have been dragging my feet when it comes to LinkedIn and Twitter, but I promise you, you can hold me accountable. I'm going to create those and I will share them with you. I am on Instagram. It's Kraut, Kraut .gg on Instagram. Yeah, that's about it right now as far as social media.
All right. And now my last question for you is, when I first approached, I want you to be brutally honest. When I first approached you and you read the email, what was your first honest reaction? What made you say yes? How do you feel now, and would you recommend it for other people out there?
My first thought was, why the heck does this guy want to talk to little old me? So I hope I lived up to the standard of the 7 years you have invested into this show. I definitely think it was a lot of fun. It was really cool getting to hear your experience and connect with you. And I would highly recommend anyone that you reach out to consider and find the time to get on the show.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And wrapping up our interview segment, it was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest. And I'm looking forward to part 2 down the road.
Hi, I'm Paisley Blackburn.
I'm Ashley Burgess.
Hi, my name is Jeanette Abney.
Hi, I'm Sharon Spank.
Hey, this is Samantha Moore.
Hi, I'm Melody Jones.
Hi, my name is Becky Yee.
Hi, you're watching the Keith Andrew Network.